everyone, and welcome to the Mental Health Show presented by Youth for Mental Health. I'm Devyani Mahajan and I'll be your host for today. I'm an Emotions Matter Fellow with Light Up Emotions Matter Foundation and the social media head for Unbottle Emotions and Light Up. Today we have with us Juhi Sharma, who's the founder and CEO of Light Up Emotions Matter Foundation and now Unbottle Emotions. But before we proceed, we want to thank Adda by Bate for providing us this beautiful space to host our show. This time we tried looking at something which is extremely complex, which is most often misunderstood. This is something we could refer to as our emotions, something that we often get disconnected with. So to reacquaint ourselves with these emotions, to become more aware of them, and to understand them more deeply, we have with us an intellectually charged woman, Juhi Sharma. Juhi runs an NGO known as Light Up Emotions Matter Foundation, which does some brilliant work in high-risk areas in the underserved population to create awareness about emotional well-being, to break down social emotional learning from something that can be a very niche topic to something that is understood by the layperson. Now, getting to Juhi, how are you doing? And tell us a little bit more about your organization.
Light Up is an organization that advocates the need to practice emotional intelligence in low-income spaces. We work for the underserved population and we advocate, and our product is a social emotional learning workshop that helps children develop social and emotional skills to cope with the trauma that they experience in life, the difficulties that they face in life. So yeah, and we use a lot of interesting alternative education mediums to do that. And learning becomes fun, and learning about life as well as becomes very experiential, and they invite it much faster.
So, to break it down for the layperson, how would you define emotional intelligence and just emotions in general? Because it's such a wide ranging term.
Yeah.
How would you put it, especially to the children you go to?
Yeah, so emotions are nothing but emotions are energy in motion, Emotions drive learning, creativity, our decision making capability. They drive our health, our relationships. So, in a nutshell, emotions drive our lives. So, they are a very important, I think, the basic foundation of our life. So, emotional intelligence is nothing but the science that equips you with the skill set to identify, understand, and manage these emotions.
Yeah, and so often we compartmentalize emotions to mean a very separate part of our life, something very different from our physical health, something that doesn't affect us so much, and we'll deal with it later. And I think this deal with it later idea and this deal with it later attitude has made us very ignorant towards our emotions.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and leading from that, we've experienced this in our workshops when I've like since I work with Light Up. The kind of people who come, it's one particular section, and that's unfortunately gendered. We don't see a lot of men coming in emotional awareness workshops and emotions matter workshops. Why do you think that happens, and how do you think we can break that stereotype, and how is Light Up doing that?
I think you put it very rightly by saying that it's so gendered. I think that's been my topmost experience in mental health space, that mental health in fact is also very gendered. The kind of participation we see in our workshops, be it in due colleges or our in-house workshops or our external workshops, we have 95% of population present is women, and only 5% amongst them are men. So I think it's very important for men to address mental health more than women. Not that the women don't need it, but women have been hardwired to emote in a certain way, whereas men haven't gone through that. They haven't gone through that growing experience. While growing up, they did not have the right role models. They did not see men crying and be vulnerable and that being accepted by the society. They've always been told to man up, if you're crying or if you're being vulnerable or if you're feeling a certain emotion or being just too emotional, right? So I think that taboo has to break away. Even men need to step up, and it's okay. You I think done bottling it up, and we need to create more spaces for them when all men can come together and discuss and prioritize that for them, this for themselves. And secondly, there's just so much social conditioning, and it's so rigid. Like it's only the men who have to become financially stable to lead a good, healthy, or financially stable life where you can explore and enjoy all your benefits or whatever. And it's, I mean, the yes, there is the concept of equal partnership, but I think it's still evolving.
Hmm.
And I mean, as men grow, their peer support just decreases, so that needs to step up more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, talking about your workshops,
Yeah.
how do you navigate this kind of masculinity? How do you reach out to men and not make them defensive? And how do you teach them self-care, considering they've been conditioned in a certain way?
I think we've made a special effort in bringing in more, male members in the team, and you know how gender friendly we are. And we don't, I mean, I've seen them having a certain quotient of, emotional regulation and self awareness, and I want to put them out as examples,
Hmm.
be it a part of our community workshops or our team workshops, to set the right example that hey, men with soft demeanor and soft approach can also be a part, and this is an also way to look at their emotional intelligence spectrum. So that is one way that I try and navigate and bring. I would really encourage more men to join our team and be that role model, be that example for even the girls in the team to feel safe that
Yeah.
okay, yeah, such men exist, even for our children in the community, that yeah, we can be like bhaiya just because bhaiya is soft. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful to see every time we go to the community in any of our classrooms
Yeah.
when the boys bond with the men in our team and they don't see a masculine figure, a toxic figure who only wants to make gabru or I'll only play with men, but who makes us friends with those boys and who brings in this idea of EI to them and makes them gentle. So we've
Gentle is the word.
yeah, gentle is something that we've started bringing into the boys in our classrooms, and I think that's one of the most brilliant things that young children need in their lives. So a lot of emotions that we feel, and we've discussed about this before because I also personally go through a lot of them. Things like anxiety, anger, being disappointed in oneself, guilt is something you talk about a lot. We tend to label them as negative emotions.
Yeah.
Why do you think that's a terminology that should change? And what will we gain out of changing that terminology?
Yeah, I think this is one of my favorite topics, and I think our workshops are also, talking about this. And I think, how do we label emotions? So there is what do we call anger? We call anger as a
Bad emotion, yeah.
We say happiness is a great, good emotion, right? Guilt or shame is an absolute negative emotion, right? Whereas being joyful is a very positive emotion, right? So we've grown up understanding emotions in these four boxes, right? Whereas emotions are nothing but natural, and tell me one person. I walk into every room and I ask this question that, how many of you have anger issues or have experienced angers, or have you, had like an anger burst out, which was not very, the best part of you to, showcase in a setting or whatever. But everybody, I mean, 90% people raise their hands, but we've been hardwired to look at these emotions or look at these bad behavior antics or, like anger burst out in a very negative way. Right? So it's very, very important that we start like we need to stop seeing them from that light and stop name calling people also that, oh, this person is really bad or this person needs help. So not from that lens, but we need to change the narration and look at from more kindness, care and support.
Yeah.
And a person, so there are two ways, like talking about anger again. How does one express anger? There's one, a sense of power or a sense of suffering, right? So there are two ways a person is emoting emotion. The power part is different, but if you see from the suffering point, that person needs support. That person needs attention, a lot of care to address that, and not look at these, so-called negative emotion or bad outbreaks as something and label them, okay, that person is a bad person or that person doesn't know how to manage, and it's there's a lot of shame attached to it.
And I think that's the knee-jerk reaction to things, that as soon as a person starts getting sad or starts losing their temper, in most day or on most times isolated, and
Yeah.
they're removed from the groups, and like families isolate them, and that creates a vicious cycle, I feel,
Yeah.
of people getting more angry or getting sadder, and that doesn't help in any way
And that's a
whatsoever.
vicious cycle and a loop that they get stuck into,
Yeah,
right? So it's
yeah.
very important to break that.
Yeah.
How do you break that? You don't address it as, okay, why are you being this? You need help. You should see somebody and you should take help. Yes, this is the way to go about it, but not target them or shame them. Okay, let's reapproach this and say that, I think it's okay. You kind of, accept it and you say it's okay to be this way, or it's okay, you had like a bad breakdown, you ended up abusing or you ended up doing this. Just accept it and make that as a natural behavior also.
Yeah.
I'm not saying
Yeah.
normalize it, right? I'm saying it's okay to address it in that moment and, bring about some comfort. Have a conversation later and say that, maybe you crossed some lines.
Yeah.
Maybe there were some boundaries which are set or you need to set, and not, make them repeat happen again and again,
Yeah.
because that would also damage the mental and emotional health of that person. But again, comfort it, be a little kind, be a little supportive, not name and shame them.
Yeah. Essentially, embrace that anxiety or anger will always be a part of your life,
Yeah.
because it's a natural emotion.
It's a natural
Yeah.
emotion. There's nothing negative about it. It's the
Yeah.
circumstances, it's the
Yeah.
stimulus. And I
Yeah.
don't have that in control. You don't have them in control. Right? You might just have something, it's all planned in future, right? We don't have control on that. And how
Yeah.
does emotions regulate or fluctuate? Because a stimulate or an incident or some experience that happens, right? Which is not in our control.
Yeah.
So it's best to, and we were never taught to cope, with our
Yeah.
emotions in our school. So how we look at light up, or in general, now I've started also practicing as healthy ways to express anger. And yes, if there are some unhealthy ways, let me try and navigate it and create a balance. I'm not saying, hey, from absolute unhealthy, you need to reach
Yeah.
absolute healthy
Quick
way.
as possible.
Yeah, quick as possible. It's a process, and you've got to be okay with that process. It's your pace. It's not my pace.
Yeah.
Right? So you need to reassure and you need to talk about that and, calm the person.
Yeah, and like talking about control, um, most of the times, for a lot of us who are not as emotionally aware as you, perhaps, being aware of our emotions at that given moment is very difficult.
Yeah.
So, do you think it's important to be aware at all times, or it's important to check in at all times?
I don't think so humanly that's possible to be in every moment. I think you really need to meditate a lot for years and get into that habit to start living in the moment, because we have so many different fragments in our life and our minds got really complicated now to box it or compartmentalize also. And secondly, I think we can mentally prepare ourselves better,
Yeah.
in order to approach or address a situation in that way, and trust your gut. Because you get to know, your heart knows, your mind knows when is that you need to address certain issues which are being roadblocks in your way. Secondly, whoever is there in your inner circle and the people who you trust, if they come and tell that, hey buddy, you're not doing fine and I think there's something of, would you like to talk? If you don't feel like talking or addressing it, or you need some time to do that self-awareness check-in, you can take that time. But yes, if you have trusted people in your environment, why not go out for a coffee, maybe for a walk, have that chat, and then come back and start addressing it. And thirdly, yes, of course, therapy, to address it. But I don't think so it's really possible for to have that check-in every day 5 times, maybe in a week, maybe in a month, whatever works for you, you can do that.
And talking about check-ins, talking about finding time for yourself, given that we're in this culture which is always hustling, which is driven by 24/7 news cycles, social media plundered with everything from around the world.
We also struggle so much with that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And a 9 to 5 job where at 5 it doesn't end. It goes on beyond that. So how can organizations or corporates for that matter become more emotionally aware, become more emotionally sensitive when dealing with their employees, or say training their employees, for example?
Yeah, I think I've been in the work sector, like in the working space, then I started something of my own. I don't think so 9 to 5 works, to be very honest. So I think the other option or solution would be, so first would be, I think it starts with the leadership. what kind of leaders are on board? Do they acknowledge or address mental health of their employees? Because I think that's very, very important. So it's very important for the leadership to be a very sensitized and b instill the same habits in their employees, and if they are going, and everybody again have their own different kind of struggles, right? So maybe introduce some nice mental health practices, not just by the name of it, like some authentic practices that
Yeah,
work.
not just HR gimmicks.
Not just HR gimmicks, exactly, like what we used to experience.
Yeah, still happens a lot.
Still happens.
Yeah.
I mean, that's been a culture that's been going on for years, and you can't really break it. But I see a lot of organizations
Changing,
taking
yeah.
some, action towards it. Secondly, I would say healthy communication. I worked in a very young organizations, and yes, we all are young, and working with people.
Yeah.
When there are humans, there are complications, there are problems. It can't be like a smooth sailing ride. That's a myth, right? So second would be that establish that code of conduct, the way, or introduce healthy communication, the kind of words that are being used. I'll take an example. There's a huge difference between feedback and criticism. You also agree, people watching this video will also agree.
Yeah.
But when it comes to implementation,
Yeah.
it's very difficult to draw the line, to draw the boundaries. It's something I have practiced because building my team, a lot of opportunities have been given to me to work on it. So I've, slowly built my skill set where I can implement feedback vis-a-vis criticism. I know what is the right path to do it by not offending the other person, because see, self-respect and self-esteem is very dear to everybody. A person from the low section also, high section also. जो 10 रुपए भी कमाता है दिन का या 100 रुपए भी कमाता है, आप उसकी भी सेल्फ रिस्पेक्ट एंड सेल्फ एस्टीम को चोट पहुंचाएंगे तो उन्हें भी दिक्कत.
Yeah, I think that's what most people forget most times.
Most times.
Dignity of like people belonging to the lower
Yeah,
class.
dignity of labor.
Yeah,
And I don't see that being practiced in Delhi at all. I've seen it in other states. But that would be my second suggestion, to build empathy and healthy communication and work on that. Right. Thirdly, I would say that create a cause-based organization, for profit or not for profit.
Okay.
I feel, see, every product is established because we are coming up with a solution to address a problem, right? So how about we bring that solution which adds or creates value in the ecosystem? So you will have a very motivated and a driven team, and which will work not as individuals but a unit.
Yeah.
So I think that is also another way to build an emotionally intelligent organization. Yeah.
So it goes beyond just getting birthday cakes for people who have their birthdays and the HR just checking up once a year on you.
Definitely. I think that cause-based organization, like I said, they will not work as individuals, they will work as one unit. And then productivity, profits, everything are going to come together. Yeah.
My last question is something that I want to know, that almost everyone wants to know, and we get a lot of this online, but a lot of it is not grounded to us, not true to our reality, not true to Indians, or maybe whoever is seeing this who doesn't have access to a lot of resources. What are the self-awareness tools that you would recommend to someone who, say, doesn't have a lot of resources, doesn't have a lot of access to, say, therapy at all, like regularly in a month? What are some simple things that we can do which can produce a little bit of change in our lives?
Yeah, I think so. I always, crack this joke that self-care is not going out for hot bath bombs. I always mention this. Yeah. So coming back to the question, I think self-care has to be very true to yourself, very authentic to yourself. So, I mean, I've been doing it and I recommend this everywhere. I think meditation is not just a tool, I think it's science, which has been scientifically established and has a huge role to play in our mental health. And don't mean it mental health illness wise, but your day-to-day functioning. Of course, you're going to have day downers and you can't just sit, meditate and it will be fixed. But definitely it will put you in slightly better space, and everything, like, it goes, I mean, it's different for different individuals, but I definitely feel that meditation is a very, very strong tool to be emotionally aware. How I wish the way we are hardwired to brush our teeth, when we wake up in the morning, I wish meditation was taught like that in schools and was a very core part of our early childhood, that we would have been hardwired to meditate. life would have been like much easier to manage, right? Second would be saying no. You don't need money or a therapy session to go out and say no. And how do you recognize where is that situation, what is that situation that you need to say no? Your gut will tell you what makes you comfortable, what makes you uncomfortable. And when I say meaning that go ahead and say no to things which make you uncomfortable, I don't mean it that whatever comes your way you say no.
Yeah.
You have to go by your intuition, and you yourself know that there are things which make you uneasy, or they put you in a spot. And how about ground yourself, get some courage, and start saying no. Get rid of the guilt,
Yeah.
get rid of the baggage, and start practicing saying no. Yeah, start drawing some boundaries. And I'm like, again, drawing that line and understanding the degree of it, it's your own call.
Yeah.
Your gut, your mind, your heart will tell you that.
Yeah.
Right. Thirdly, I would say, coming back to the whole negative emotion conversation, I think we all have carried a lot of baggage. There is a lot of guilt. It's very important that you forgive yourself for the certain mistakes that you've made. Forgive people, to the ones who've hurt you, because these are the things which block your life. They block your well-being. So it's very, very important. I'm not saying heal in a day, heal in a moment.
Yeah.
Take your time, heal, but forgive. Forgive yourself, forgive the other person also, because life, yes, it's too long, but it's too short at the same time. You got to enjoy being in the moment. It's very difficult. So try and apply these three things, and I'm sure some magic will happen.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
3 things. One, make meditation part of your hygiene, like
Yeah,
brushing.
absolutely. Mental hygiene.
Yeah, your mental hygiene. Say no
Yeah.
before getting everything onto your plate.
Yeah.
And thirdly, forgive yourself. And I think that's where most people falter on.
Yeah,
We're
and
so
you
ready
don't
to.
need much money to do all these three
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
So yeah, like I said, minus hot bath bombs, these are very ready to take.
Hot bath bombs is a new term that we've learned today.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means. Bath bombs and hot baths are different things.
No, because I was going through these self-care, tips, and I constantly see these hot bath bombs, and I'm seeing people, promoting that. I just feel these are not authentic practices.
Yeah.
Go and find your authentic self-care tools, practices that apply to your
Yeah,
life.
I think self-pleasure and self-care are two very different things
Yeah,
that people falter on.
exactly.
And it's good to have these things, to enjoy these things. We're not saying that.
It's a very clear demarcation.
Yeah, and self-care is hard for a lot of. Meditation won't you won't get it in one go.
Yeah.
It'll take
It's a
months.
practice.
It's a
It will take
practice. So
months.
even if it frustrates you, it's still
Go back
something.
to it.
Yeah.
Go back to it. Don't be harsh on yourself. It's okay if you miss 2 days, but cut yourself some slack and go back to it.
Okay. With the work Light Up does, and with the way you put things, is that you've simplified something very complex for the layperson. So simple that even kids as young as 5, as young as 6, begin to understand it a little. And I think that's what it's all about. Just the way we're taught maths, if we were taught emotions in the same way, with the same strictness and with the same demeanor, maybe life would have been a little easier for people our age. But before we wrap up, there's another extension that Light Up has established, and that's Unbottle Emotions, which is a lovely name, which I'm also a part of. So where did the idea come from, and what is your goal with Unbottle Emotions?
I think it was a very organic journey to launch and establish Unbottled Emotions. We both have been a part of it. And we've been getting a lot of appreciation for the work we do in the low income spaces. And along the way, we ended up establishing our footprint in colleges and with the youth of Delhi as well. And we felt we can't just cater to one section of the society, because it's so important for everybody, in today's times. So yeah, so that's how Unbottled Emotions came along. Even the name, and I hope that the journey turns out to be very exciting. And it's another platform where we are advocating about the need to practice emotional intelligence and to bring about more awareness and preventive tools, awareness about them, to be able to practice and address emotional, turmoils or mental health issues in their lives.
Yeah, and I think what's special is that within those 7 hours, if you're able to see someone break through if they tell us about their stories, even if it's written in our activities or whatever, it's something very special to see that they found this to be a safe space where they can
It's been
truly
very
be.
special for you also.
Yeah.
See that happening. You've been
Yeah.
so happy in a very, like, it's really impacted you also and the entire Unbottled team as well.
Yeah.
Because we saw it happening beforehand, and after 10 workshops, we thought, okay, let's go ahead and build another community
Yeah.
and have that demarcation. Okay, this is our work for low income because we're taking too much on plate.
Yeah.
And have Unbottled Emotions and reach out to a wider population with the same cause, with the same authenticity and the same love that we create in that 6 hour.
Yeah. We try to.
experience.
Yeah.
We tried it, yeah, and we'll try harder. Yes.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Juhi, for being with us today.
Thank you for spending your Sunday with me.
And we hope that we were able to give you an understanding of what emotions are, how the complexity can be broken down into simplicity. Juhi is truly an example and an inspiration to me and a lot of others, not just in Light Up's team, but also to people we go to the workshops that we have, especially in the low-income communities. Because being a woman in an industry of NGOs which has to deal with people on field at all times is extremely difficult, but at the same time extremely inspiring. So more power to you, more power to us as a team. And thank you to the Mental Health Show for having us.
Yes.
And
Thank you so much. We had a great time doing this on a Sunday.
Yeah.
I think it's a lovely Sunday spent.
if you found today's conversation to be refreshing, to be something new that you learned, be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with your loved ones, with your relatives, with your friends, and press the bell icon for reminders of every time we post a new video so that you're constantly updated. You can also follow us on our Instagram handle and follow Light Up at LightUpEI for constant updates from their profile as well.